The Florida Department of Education have suggested a number of evidences that high school students should be taught in order to prove, as it were, the theory of evolution. In previous Creation Bytes, we've looked at comparative anatomy, comparative embryology, and molecular biology. One of the most interesting evidences that they suggest should be taught to students is the idea of observed evolutionary change. This is interesting because as a science teacher, I'm very keen on students being taught to look at observations. Indeed, one of the big criticisms that we have of the theory of evolution is that you cannot do experiments to show these evolutionary changes. And yet here we are teaching students that they should look at observed evolutionary change. The problem here is a logical fallacy in which two different concepts are given the same name. You see, the word evolution can be used in a very wide, colloquial term. I could actually say that the Creation Today ministry has evolved over the years to what it is today. That would not mean that I'm conceding the theory of evolution. It simply means that I'm using the term as a definition of change. Clearly, a ministry has changed over a number of periods of time, and therefore we can say that it's evolved, but it hasn't taken on extra genetic information. And when we're talking about biological evolution, molecules to man evolution, what we're actually looking for is a spontaneous increase in genetic information. Do you observe that to happen? The answer is, of course you do not. What sort of observed changes are the Department of Education talking about? They're talking about things such as the idea of foxes and dingoes and coyotes and dogs having developed from wolves. That's clearly the case. Genetic information can be rearranged, in some cases even lost. New species will develop. Sometimes breeds will develop by artificial selection, but in nature as well, new species will develop because of geological isolation or because of environmental conditions. These sort of selections take place, but that is not evolution in the molecules to man sense. You could say it's change, but biologically we shouldn't really refer to that as evolution. We actually refer to it as speciation, and it is not the same thing as the molecules to man evolution that we say simply cannot happen and definitely has not been observed in laboratory conditions.